Creeps are everywhere. In your local grocery stores, in your schools, in your own neighborhood. God knows what happens in your neighbor's home. But one of the biggest places for creeps to conglomerate is online. And today's video tells a tale that is no exception to this rule. What happens when you take somebody who could be a potential serial killer in the real world and put them in front of a horrified internet audience of millions? Well, you get Nick Bate. Nick Bate is a 31-year-old sex offender who in 2015 was sentenced to many years in prison for the sexual abuse of incredibly young toddlers and children. He was only 23 when he was sentenced, making this all the more depressing. However, unfortunately for us, Nick documented a lot of his opinions, selfies, and more on the internet over the course of quite a few years, and as a result, became a horror cow. This is his ED article. Viewer discretion advised. I apologize if this article is kind of childish or boring or any of that. Frankly, just follow along the best you can. Try to read between the lines and don't take this at face value. The internet is filled with dirty, strange people. Uncanny YouTube videos made by babbling, incoherent autists. Amongst them is Nick Bate. He's recognizable in two different ways: how candid he is in his bizarre sexual deviances, and his years-long devoted obsession with a ham beast he met on the internet. Nick Bates, or Nicholas Boyd Stautzenberger, born September 1st, 1991, is a 31-year-old sick fuck who was discovered on CWC, which is, I believe, an 8chan or 4chan board, I'm not sure, when his pictures and information were posted, saying he was just like Chris Chan. In reality, he was so much worse. He's a ridiculously outspoken person, and talks nonchalantly on his Twitter about masturbating with his own shit. This guy is Joseph Fritzl caliber, and possibly one of the most vile people you will ever read about. The citizens of CWC were reviled and astonished at the things he would openly admit on his websites. And on the right, we have a picture of Nick Bates, I would say probably about age 22, 23 here. So very, very young, at least way too young to be doing this. Who is Nick? Admitted pedophile. Says he likes little girls because their vaginas haven't opened up and become all gross, and they're cute and energetic. Believes pedophilia and incest should be legal. Says there's stupid laws, and believes children can consent. He also states that a newborn baby has the same exact brain as an adult. Thinks children can be taught about sex, and that it's okay to fuck them. This includes his own children, were he able to have any. Also, he is a cross-dresser, and he's into LARPing, and thinks that Kentucky doesn't exist. He also mentions a habit of smelling cats, which is possibly some kind of fetish. That makes this photo all the more disturbing. He has a fear of water, so he doesn't shower. Instead, he takes Sato showers every few months, which means he just takes off his shirt, leans over the shower head, and washes his hair. He does not wash his ass or any other part of his body. He does not wipe his ass when he shits either. He prefers to, quote-unquote, air dry, which means he probably always smells like fish, since he has not cleaned his asshole in years. Nick is a devout Christian. He believes marrying Anna is their fate, and that God decided it. He also believes he is a prophet sent by God to tell people of the wonders of anal, and that the Bible's story of Sodom and Gomorrah was misinterpreted. Every so often he will make prophetic tweets. He is completely disgusted by vaginas, due to, he claims, their tendency to open after puberty. Nick Bate lives with his grandmother and aunt, one of the many people he wants to fuck. He used to live back and forth between his mother's house and his grandmother's house, occasionally visiting his father. He likes to tell stories of the good old days when he and his friends would run around on the schoolyard and pretend to fuck each other. Maybe because that's the closest to actual intercourse Nick is going to get to, with those near the same age as him, that is. How Nick is allowed to live with his grandmother still is beyond shocking, considering his habit of shitting, masturbating with his shit-covered hand, and rubbing the jizzy, shitty mess all over his walls. His aunt regularly scolds him for this. His family is well aware of Nick's problems. He has asked for his family to buy him porn for Christmas, but with no vaginas, only anuses. They try to get him to stop fucking a pillow that he likes to pretend is Anna. They have driven him to the hospital many times due to Nick's habit of shoving small objects deep up his rectum, like tiny flashlights. So as you can see, this is an extremely disturbing person. There is a very disturbing picture of Nick Bate in his grandmother's house, which I would not go here. I would not go anywhere near here. I would consider myself somewhat of a tough guy. I still would not confront this. Important people. Anna. One fateful day, on February 18th, 1993, a very sexy baby was born to John Anthony Tony Nickel and Audrey Nickel. Nick on Anna. Anna Nickel is the object of lust for Nick Bate. She is a mentally ill person, claiming to have Asperger's. She met Nick when she was 13 on the bonus stage forums. Anna is a pretty big attention whore, and also claims to be bisexual. She's a huge weeaboo and has many nerdy interests like anime and cosplaying. She's also a fan of novelty bands like They Might Be Giants, an interest that Nick would later borrow from her. Being a hypersexual aspie, she would seek out basement dwellers on various sites and cybersex them, and Nick just happened to be one of them. When she and Nick met, they would cyberfuck each other for hours on the Homestar Wiki, which if you follow the story here, she was 13 and having cybersex with this grown man. Many of his obsessions, as Nick claims, were introduced to him from Anna, which he imitated seemingly as a means to impress her. Anna and Nick were friends, during which Nick claims that Anna said she would marry him, but all this led to Anna being more aware of what a freak Nick is and trying to distance herself from him. He became more and more obsessed with her and did whatever he could on the internet to talk about her, including writing thousands of bizarre web pages begging her to love him. His insane pleadings to Anna are right here. Some of the more notable ones are him talking about how he'll turn into a 5-year-old and grow up with Anna. He also writes stories about Anna, like one where he watches her shit in a forest and then she gets anally penetrated. Nick has also come up with a set of rules he must abide to in order to fulfill his life. Marry Anna, have kids with her, and be literally the greatest husband ever. Never get into arguments with her. Kind of felt that part. Never lie to her or hide things from her. That part actually screwed me over, go figure. Protect her from any dangers that may arise. Always be romantic and surprise her with gifts and thoughtful acts. Do all the housework. Take care of her and the kids. Cheer her up when she's sad. Cook her meals and just make her happy in general, and always put her before myself. Never graduate high school. Failed. Yes, I failed at failing school. That's how much I fail. Never have a job. Note that my definition of a job is having a boss, having to travel away from home, and having a contract or other paperwork. I'll probably make money via Google Ads, or my cartoons or something. I don't know, I'll ask Anna what she wants once she's talking to me again. Maddie. Maddie is a 16-year-old girl who pity-dated Nick. She was the one who got on CWC and alerted its residents to Nick's pitiful existence. Chat logs, nudes, and logs of cybers were posted, with the help of 2 trolls that hacked his accounts. Maddie herself linked the CWC thread to Nick, which made him freak out. The first few threads were based around gathering information about him and reading various chat logs, and a few threads Anna actually posted, stating her lack of virginity, her stance on Nick, and other various things. Short stories and fan fiction. Nick is a prolific writer, and by prolific, we mean shitty. Nick's prized accomplishment, The Meadow, is an unnervingly creepy little story about him butt-fucking Anna in the woods. The following is an excerpt from that story, which I will not be reading in full. Forward. The following takes place in an alternate reality in which Anna and Nick have already gotten married and, needless to say, are madly in love with each other. They also have stumbled upon a beautiful meadow, filled with colorful flowers that seemingly outnumber the grass. The meadow has all the essentials, a neighboring forest consisting of every plant known to man, thus producing food, a river endlessly flowing with clean water, and a unique climate which is always just the right temperature in the meadow. It is impossible to be too hot or too cold here, and precipitation does not exist. The plants in the forest thrive without water. The meadow is unknown to both man and animal. It has never been discovered by anyone, and will never be discovered again. Nick and Anna decided to spend their days there alone, forsaking all material possession. Even their clothing has been discarded, as they're needed neither for warmth nor for modesty, as there is no one around to hide their genitals from. As such, Anna and Nick reside in the meadow completely naked, save for the crown of flowers he crafted for her. Our story begins as Nick awoke one morning, lying in the flowers beside his sleeping wife. His arms were wrapped around her, and hers around him. Nick lovingly gazed at his beautiful meadow princess. She lay on her side, face buried in his shoulder, and buttocks pushed outward as if she were in a semi-fetal position. It wasn't long before Anna, too, woke from her sleep. While still asleep, she stretched her arms and legs, and to her horror, passed gas very loudly. Realizing what she had done, she quickly became alert, and at the same time, embarrassed. Her face turned bright red, her eyes widened, and she had unknowingly held on to Nick tighter. Nick smiled and stroked her hair. "It's all right. I like it when you fart," he said. Anna, relieved, loosened her grip on him, and for no particular reason, began stroking his erect penis. She slowly and sensually massaged it, which aroused them both. Anna sat up, leaned forward, and put her lips on the tip of his penis. She then began sliding up and down his entire penis, again, very slowly. She did it very soft and rhythmically, as if it were not simply a meaningless sexual act, but a sign of her love for him. With each repetition, she made sure to get it wet with her saliva. She knew that Nick liked it wet. The way she leaned forward exposed her anus, and Nick salivated on his finger before beginning to slide it in and out of it. Other than this, Nick lay completely emotionless, eyes closed, basking in the love he felt emanating from Anna. The girl he's referring to in this story was significantly underage, as young as 13, while Nick was over 21. In 2015, Nicholas Stoutzenberger was arrested when he was 23 and was charged with 1 count of involuntary deviant sexual intercourse with a child and 3 counts of indecent assault of a child, and that's just what's confirmed. His bail was $150,000, and he was sentenced to at minimum 16 years in prison, though he could get up to 40. It's unknown how he's doing now, though it's probably not good. It's safe to say, however, his life is over.